Hi everyone. Hi everyone, this is Anne and I'm currently breastfeeding Alexander. I'm filming this in the kitchen. I just set up the camera so I hope you can hear me. I'll come a little bit closer. So, Alexander was born on the 9th of May on Mother's Day, and I'm going to share a little bit about the birth. So far it's been not harder than I thought going from 0 to 1 child was the hardest. This kind of is easy. He's also way easier baby than Sophia was. Sleeps good, naps good, of course he has his fussy times, but for the rest he's been way easier. The birth itself was really fast again, but I also had like pre-labor 2 days before, like 48 hours before, where I had these, I've been having Braxton Hicks contractions like with Sophia since in the 20 weeks, and those are not painful. But then 48 hours before I actually gave birth, I started to have contractions that really hurt. They were like sometimes 15 minutes apart, 20 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart, 7 minutes apart, and then they would sometimes stop a little bit during the day and then they would come back. And at night they were often worse, and I couldn't sleep through them, so I was constantly waking up. I also had diarrhea. Everything was like coming out of my body, which I thought was a clear sign that I was gonna give birth, because that happened with Sophia also. And I was having that. I couldn't sleep, I had no appetite, I was pooping like all the time, like my bowel was completely emptied. So at one point I went to the hospital and just get monitored, and they were checking me, and the midwife, she tried to feel my cervix, but she couldn't even reach it. She said it was still really high up, she couldn't even reach it. So I was sent home, and that was the morning, and I gave birth in the evening actually. So anyway, I went home, and while I was being monitored, the contractions, of course, they stopped. So for that time, and then I was walking to the car and they started again. So I was home, they started again, and they were of course really painful, like I couldn't sleep through them, and I had no appetite, and I was like trying to find positions that would alleviate the pain. But online I was reading you had to wait until your contractions are regular, and they say to go in when they're 5 minutes apart and you can talk through them. So I was at home having these contractions, sometimes super painful. What I found at one point is that walking made them better, and then I was reading online that you're not in real labor when walking makes them better. So I was like, okay, I'm not in real labor, fine. So I was walking around and dancing a bit, and I was coping really well. So I was like, this has been going on for so long, I can't eat, I cannot sleep, when is this actual labor going to start? So I was at home doing that. Sometimes the contractions were like 5 minutes apart, then all of a sudden, then 7 minutes, 9 minutes, back to 5 minutes. They were never regular for me, so be careful. You can have irregular contractions like that, varying in intensity, sometimes mild, sometimes very painful, and you can be in actual labor, because all of a sudden I got a really painful one where I was like moaning and kicking my leg into the ground, and I felt pressure in my ass. I was like, did I just feel that pressure? Because that is like a sign that you need to push. I was like, after that contraction passed, because it's too painful to talk, I ran to Simon. He was taking a shower, and I said we have to go to the hospital because I just had like a push contraction, and that was the first one I had like that. So we already had everything packed, of course, so we jumped into the car, called my mom to like look after Sophia while we were gone. And then we went into the car, and these contractions started coming 2 minutes apart, and the hospital is like 25 minutes away. So it's quite a drive. So every 2 minutes I was having this really painful pushing contraction. I was like moaning and like doing my head like this in the car. If anyone would have seen me, they would have thought like, what the fuck is going on with her? So they were super painful, had this pressure constantly down below. We parked into the emergency and we ran into the hospital, went immediately up, and of course the nurses, they immediately saw I was gonna give birth, and they immediately said, come. So they brought me immediately to the delivery room. Here in Belgium, where I go, there's like a bath. It's a huge room with a seat for the dad and a bath and a shower, and a very nice room. So I stripped down, and they immediately checked me, and I had 9 centimeters opening. another contraction came and they wanted to feel again, and I was completely like dilated and I was ready to push. So I was right in time in the hospital because I basically walked in there and I was ready to push the baby out. So my gynecologist was on standby, thankfully. Oei, hey schat, what's up here? My gynecologist thankfully was on standby. She was there all weekend, ready to do the birthings. So basically I had to lay down. I said I wanted to try first laying sideways, but somehow I couldn't effectively push that way. So again, like with Sophia, I laid on my back. They asked me to pull up my legs to my chest and then press really hard like if you're pooping. I think it was like 20 minutes and then Alexander was born. And again I had very minimal tear at the perineum, same as with Sophia. And he, there's something with my tailbone. My tailbone curves a little bit, so it puts pressure. I'm doing a video for my channel. Hey, pas op, schat, okay. So basically my tailbone curves in a little bit, so put pressure on the baby when he is coming out. So that's why there was like his heart rate decreased a bit every time I pushed, which and it made him poop also when he was coming out. So there was like poop on my belly from him. He didn't breathe it in or anything, thank God. But he was completely fine. He's 51 centimeters he was and 3 kilos. Currently he's already 4 kilos 600. He's growing really rapidly from the breastfeeding like Sophia. He is going to be 5 weeks on Sunday. He's already 56 centimeters also. At the first scans until like I was 30 weeks, his head was measuring over the 99 percentile, like huge head. So I was super scared, but then it stopped a little bit. And then it went to a good size, just 35 centimeter head. So I was like, oh thank God, because I wasn't sure how that would end up. So after the birth, I had pain in my pelvic floor. Like it was very hard to walk. The doctor said you will have pain in your tailbone. She already knew that. And it was hard to walk the first day. I had to kind of shuffle around, like slide and like only move the bottom of my feet. And the second day I could walk a bit better, and then now everything is healed completely fine. I'm just waiting for my checkup with the doctor. I have my checkup soon also, but I think everything is fine now. It feels like everything is healed. I also stopped bleeding. And yeah, I'm going to show you the state of my belly, which is recovering nicely. I'm gonna put it. That was just my update. Any questions I will answer in the comments. Bye!